Hello everyone, this is Gene for the third time today with the third video. So as I said in the first video of the day that I did on Sindel, I said I was going to do two videos. One where I reacted to the confirmation on the combat cast that these changes that were made to her character were based on giving her agency. And I said I was going to do a second video where I give my thoughts and opinions on who she is overall, right, as an avatar in the game, right? So everything that I can visually evaluate without actually playing as the character, right? So there's more stuff that's come out, right? Intros, win poses, the fatalities, fatal blows, excuse me. Things of that nature, right? Her human skin, which seems to be based on her MK3 outfit from 1995. So I just thought I would give my opinions, the very little bit that I liked and mostly what I did not like about these changes. So let me take you on a journey of me complaining about Sindel again. So before I start, as always, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I'm happy to have you. I hope that you continue to enjoy the content, whether this is your first video or your 100th video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day or your night to listen to me rant about something. So let me get to the rant, right? So I'm looking at a picture of Sindel right now to sort of like help visually guide me. Sorry, stretch out my neck a little bit. Old woman problems. But anyway, so I'm going to start right at the top. Her head. Her hair. Her hair is not awful, right? And I am trying to be understanding and forgiving, because I understand, hair physics, right? Hair is like one of those very difficult things to animate in 3D or in video games. So I am trying to be understanding and forgiving in that department. That being said, there are a few issues I have with her hair. One is that it seems to be slicked back into a mullet style, right? Other depictions of her usually had her hair fuller, right? A little more loose and wild and free, which I think would make more sense given that, she's has like a Scream Queen gimmick, and of course the image of a banshee, right, has always been a theme with her. Even in this game, they actually did keep that element, right, the banshee scream, right, and a banshee, right, at least when they're female, they always have this, long wild hair when they're screaming. So the best way I can describe her hair and how it looks to me is that it looks like somebody put like a lot of gel in it and then slicked it back so that it goes backward in a very mullet-esque style without actually cutting it into a mullet. That's the best way I can say it. It's not an awful look, but I would prefer the more, loose, free, wild hair look. And again, maybe it's a matter of hair physics, right? Maybe it's a technical issue with the programming and with the video game itself. It's not awful. It's just I don't like it. Though it is funny, Johnny he takes a crack at her expense in one of their intros, where he says that 1989 called it wants its hair back. I'm just like, Johnny, you're 6 years too early. 1995. She debuted in 95. Get it right. But anyway, so there's that. Another issue with her hair that I have is that while her hair is appropriately long and almost touching the floor in her intros and in all the cinematics, that's fine. But the in-game model itself, right, unless she's doing hair-related special moves, her hair isn't even reaching her mid-back, right? Her hair has always been a very important visual element and a gameplay element, right? She quite literally uses it as a weapon, up to and including killing people with it. So, maybe it's a technical issue, but it does irk me a little bit that the actual in-game model, right, when she's not doing a hair-related special move, the hair is a lot shorter than it appears in any of the cinematics, intros, outros, the fatality, fatal blows, anything like that. And again, maybe it's an issue of technical stuff, but it's I have to admit, from a visual standpoint, I find it irksome. There's also one intro where she like swings her head around, kind of like this, and like the long-ish part of her hair, right, moves fine, but then it's like the back part, like right here at the nape of the neck, it doesn't move, right? So it looks like almost like it's broken, or this or there's this like disconnect, right? Or that she's wearing like a very bad weave or something. It just looks weird. Again, it's not awful, but again, these are the things that I notice, right? And it's one of those things where we're just, as a look, as a design, as much as I hate what they've done, if I look at it objectively just as a design, I think that had they addressed these things or caught them, it could have made it look better from a visual perspective. But again, as I've said many times, it could be an issue of maybe they are technically limited and this is the best they can do. So I'd have to give the hair like a C, right? If I were to give it a letter grade, I would say it's a C overall. Next is her makeup. She needs more makeup. It's not awful. She has like purple lipstick, but what I found visually interesting, especially if you look at MK3 from 1995, is that she has like black eyeshadow, like on this part of the eye here, and her hands, my hand's coming up, like this, right? The fingernails, right, are just like thick black, and it makes it look like claws, and it's just very visually interesting, especially since whether she's a revenant or whether she's human, she has this very pale skin. I think that had they put more striking makeup on her, like again a black eyeshadow or something, that it would have made her face stand out more. I also don't understand why she has more of a square jawline. So there's that. And then of course the biggest thing for the face for me is that, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think she looks like Kitana at all, right? They arbitrarily race lifted Kitana. I'm never going to agree with that. But since they did it, it's like, well, here's actually something from the original series that it makes sense to address it. Especially since Sindel is the only parent we ever see in-game for Kitana. And as we've seen with the combat kids, right, with Sonya, not Sonya, Cassie, and with Jackie, they do resemble their parents, right? Cassie's a dead ringer for Sonya. Even Johnny himself mistakes her for Sonya at one point. And Jackie does look a lot like Jax. I think she looks more like her mother than her father. But you can see Jax in there. She looks like she could be his daughter. Sindel and Kitana never looked like they were related. And this is a mother-daughter pairing going back to 96, because 96 was the first game where they were actually in the game together, because Kitana wasn't in 3. So let's say, Ultimate 3, Trilogy, those series of games were the first games where they were actually in the game together. Right? And they never really addressed them not looking alike in the original series. So here's something you actually really could correct. And they don't. Right? Kitana looks very Asian. She looks Chinese despite having a name that's a play on a Japanese sword. But okay, whatever. And Sindel still looks like she's Caucasian. So I'm assuming that Kitana gets her looks from her father, from King Gerard. That's the only thing I can think of. Which I'm not necessarily against, but again, since he's never been featured in game in all these years, there's never been like a clear, distinct picture or look for him. No one knows what he looks like. They've always kept his appearance a mystery. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to keep the father's appearance a mystery, and the only character you're going to prominently feature is the mom, it would help if mother and daughter looked alike. I'm just saying. Either make Sindel look more Asian or make Kitana look more white, right? Maybe like, half white, half Asian. I don't know. But I really wish they had addressed that and actually made them look similar to each other to better sell the idea that they are indeed mother and daughter. That's just me. That's just me. So, if I had to rate her face overall, I would give it a C minus. So there's that. So the hair is a C, the face is a C minus. Right? Now, the voice acting. The voice acting and the dialogue. I have to split this in two. Right? Because they're two different things to me. The voice acting is great. The voice actress that they hired, unfortunately, her name escapes me at the moment. I believe it begins with an M. Maybe I'll look it up and add it to the description or the comments or something because it escapes me right now. But the voice acting, I think, is near flawless. They got an amazing voice actress. Right? The only, and these are very minor complaints that I have about the voice acting, is that Sindel, at least to me, has a slightly vague English accent. Probably to play up the whole, haughty queen thing. Sorry, England. But, and she has this slight accent in, sorry for the noise, this is what happens when you live record. But anyway, so she has this slight accent, this slight, sort of haughty English queen type of accent, at least to me. And she has it for nearly every dialogue, but there's this one where she's flirting with Shao Kahn. Right? Something to the effect of like, I married you for your strength and power. And he's like, I'll show you both and all this other stuff. And the accent is just gone. The accent is just gone. It sounds like a different woman for a moment. I'm like, okay, that was jarring. It's like the best way... Oh, sorry. Ugh. Sorry about that. The best way I can describe it is that imagine Jade, right, who actually does have a very noticeable English accent in the game. How an Edenian has a Earthrealm accent, I have no clue, but hey, not everything needs to be explained. But anyhow, imagine if, like, Jade, right, who has this very noticeable English accent, is speaking with this accent in, like, every dialogue she has, but then she has a flirty one with Kodal, and then and then the accent is just gone. It would just sound very jarring. It's like, what the hell happened to your voice, right? So there's that. That's like one of the few issues I have with the voice. But fortunately, it seems to be, at least from the dialogues I've heard, and I've heard well over an hour's worth of dialogue through all the videos I have watched this week on Sindel. So I would say that's probably the only time where the accent drops and she really sounds different. It's a little jarring for me. But that's a very minor thing. So there's that. That's the voice acting. I think is one of the best parts, one of the best elements, right, of a character that I don't like. The voice acting is top notch. I cannot really have any strong complaints, right? And what I like about the voice acting is that the voice acting is so good, is that it really, I don't want to say saves, but I think it really at least helps a lot of the dialogue, because a lot of the dialogue, right, a lot of the written lines, right, the actual words she says are go from meh to very cringy, in my opinion. They really could have done better on her dialogue here, in my opinion. But the voice acting really does breathe life, right, into these very mediocre lines, in my opinion. In fact, there's one she has with Kung Lao, right, where she says something to the effect of like, kneel, worship me, and he's like, you can't make me, and she gives this incredulous laugh. It sounds to the effect of like, oh, you think I can't? And what I love about it is, again, not the line. The line itself is not all that impressive. It's the delivery. It's that sincere incredulousness, right? That amused sense of, oh, really? You think you're not going to obey me? Okay, then. You know, it's that. It's the emotion behind it that really makes that line believable, even if the actual words themselves are a bit meh. Right? So there's that. So that's what I think of the actual voice acting. Now, the dialogue, right? The script, the written words, the spoken words. These words, in my opinion, sorry for the shifty camera, but my other hand is starting to go numb. The shifty camera, in my opinion, is not the shifty camera, dear Lord. The dialogue, in my opinion, as I've said before, really needed work. I think really they should have given a second or third pass at that. Maybe had someone else look at it, because a lot of this dialogue is just very meh to cringy. For example, there's one dialogue she has with Scorpion. And again, I'm just talking about the words she says, not the voice acting. Okay, just the words. There's one dialogue Sindel has with Scorpion. And literally, the dialogue pretty much goes like this. Sindel, Quan Chi hurt you badly. Scorpion, we all have scars. Sindel, yes, inside and out. I'm just like, really? Really? This is all she's going to say. They both have a shared pain with Quan Chi, right? They were both betrayed by him, lost. Well, Sindel lost her life now, according to this dumb retcon. And Scorpion, lost his family and his ninja clan to this man. And all she's going to say is, Quan Chi hurt you badly. I'm like, really? Really? Is she 6? I mean, come on. This is all the nearly immortal, practically ageless queen of Edenia, right? Who may be like the longest existing. I don't want to say lived because she was dead for thousands of years, but one of the oldest characters in the series outside of the gods. And all she's gonna say is, Quan Chi hurt you badly. I'm like, oh God. Somebody was asleep on their pen. They were asleep on their keyboard when that line was written. And even worse, somebody signed off on that line, put it in front of the voice actress, and said, make this work. The fact that she does not sound like a complete fool when you actually hear it spoken is a testament to the voice actress's work. Because I don't think any other voice actress really could have saved, I don't want to say saved, but I guess saved it, right? Or at least, made it sound better. It could have been worse, is what I'm trying to say. It could have been a lot worse, because that dialogue, in my opinion, that interaction was just awful. Awful. It's like, two people who are very introverted, right, trying to have a conversation. It's like, nice weather. Yeah, sunny out. Hey, I know. Cool out. It's like it doesn't really count as a conversation, right? So there's that. Then the second one that I really think demonstrates, again, somebody really needed to look over this dialogue. It's actually another dialogue she has with Kung Lao, right? Again, it's one of those things where she's like, kneel, and he's like, I'm Kung Lao, you can't make me. And she says something to the effect of like, you've got spunk. I'm like, and I admit, maybe this is totally a consequence of my very dirty mind, but I'm just like, spunk? Spunk? You're taking a very sexualized version of Sindel, who has a domination fetish, and we're using the word spunk. Now I get it, right? Dirty jokes, double entendres, litter her dialogue with many of the male characters. But I'm just like, spunk? And I get it, right? In this context, right, it has a non-sexual meaning. And again, maybe it's just my dirty mind, but I just really wish they hadn't included that word. It's like there are so many other words they could have used that mean the same thing, right? Right, that he has tenacity, right? Determination. So many different words that they could have used like something like, "Oh, you're a feisty one." Anything else but the word spunk. I'm just saying that it just left me kind of. It's like I need a shower after that. But anyway, so there's that. Overall, if I have to blend the two, I give the voice acting in A, because it really does make this very mediocre dialogue. Sorry, it does really make the mediocre dialogue very livable and tolerable, and that is really a testament to the voice actress. So I will give the voice acting in A. That's one of the best parts. There is not too much to be proud of here, in my opinion. Not too much positive to say, but the voice acting is definitely one of the things that deserves all the praise. All the praise. Now is her costume, right? Her costume in general. Her human look appears to be a redesigned, modified version of her outfit from MK3. And as an outfit, as a design, it's not bad in my opinion. It just doesn't look a dang thing like Sindel. Now let me explain what I mean. Sindel's looks up until this video game have always emphasized the feminine, have always emphasized femininity. Which makes sense, right? She's the queen, she's the mother, she's the wife. So her appearances, although again, having this, very B-movie, Elvira, goth element to it, has always accentuated the feminine. And while this costume still is very feminine, the interesting thing about the costume is that in the context of this particular Mortal Kombat game, given how modest they went with the female designs, this is actually one of the more skin-bearing and more sexy looks. But if you compare this costume to Sindel's various costumes and looks throughout the life of the series, this is actually one of her tamer ones. So it's a very odd place where it's like sexier in some respects and tamer in others. So there's that. It's a very weird space to be in. But anyway, right, as a design, I think it's fine. My issue with it is that, again, Sindel's always accentuated the feminine. And the thing is that, to me, this costume looks like it was inspired by, like, a biker chick and how a biker chick dresses. Here's the thing. As a design, the biker chick look is just fine. It does not fit Sindel. Again, Sindel's look has always accentuated the feminine. The reason why, in my opinion, a biker chick look does not work is because the biker chick is the tomboy, right? And what is a tomboy? A tomboy is a woman who is a bit more masculine in nature, right? And one of the ways to express that is through her appearance, right? It's the whole rough and tumble, type of thing. And again, that's perfectly fine for a tomboy character. Like you could put Sonya in that. Don't oversex it like in MK9, but you could put Sonya in that type of general costume or look. You could put Cassie in that, maybe even Jackie. But it does not fit for Sindel. It doesn't fit for a character who has always embodied the idealized feminine. She does not need a masculine element to her look, like what basically looks to me like stirrups, and she's not wearing pants underneath them. So you see her inner thigh. Again, it's not a bad look. It's not a bad design. I just think it's on the wrong character. But as I've established in several videos, I think nearly everything about this character is wrong. So if I had to give the costume, especially since it's an adaptation of her MK3 look, which I think is truer to who she is as a character, I would have to give the costume really somewhere between a D plus and like a C minus, right? I guess you can make the call. I would say like a C plus. C minus, D plus. I really don't like what they did with the costume. I know that Nerdette is of the opinion that the costume's great. Tristan, I'm sorry, girl. I just don't share your opinion on that. That's just me. Just remember, it's just one woman's opinion. That's all it is. And that goes to everybody. So there's that. So lastly is the cinematics, right? Her intros, her outros, the fatal blows, the fatalities. Outside of the voice acting, those are probably the best parts, in my opinion. Because she finally came across as Sindel. Her intros are very good, right? And this is just her actual, physical movements and introductions. It doesn't include the dialogue or the voice acting, right? But she does a lot of twirls. She throws her hair a lot. There's a few. There is actually one which is cool and creepy at the same time, where she's like, best thing I can say is that it looks like she's consuming a soul or something. Like this white orb floating in the air, and then she swallows it. It's weird. But anyway, it's appropriately creepy. It's very elegant, very feminine, and it is perfect. Her intros and outros, she has this one really cool wind pose, where she does this very elegant turn, this elegant spin, and then she goes into the sonic scream. Perfect. I am quite happy with that. Yes, that is exactly what I was expecting. The cinematics in the game, like the fatal blow and all that, it looks great. She has a lot of attacks I would expect her to. There's one where she takes the high heel of her boots and she jams them into her opponent's eyes. There's one, and I think it's an attack she shares with Katana, where she basically attacks her opponent with her backside. That's silly, but again, I can live with it. It at least kind of makes sense for the character, right? And then there's the fatalities, right? They use her hair. There's the one I've seen the most is the one where she basically does this backflip kick, and then she uses the hair to sort of restrain her victim, and then she does the sonic scream, and it destroys her opponent. So again, it's everything I would expect. It's everything I would expect Sindel to do. So if I have to rate all the cinematics, I give them an A+, right? All the cinematics get an A+ collectively overall. Cannot really think of one where I was disappointed or had any real criticisms, right? So the strongest parts were the cinematics and the voice acting. Everything else is a great big meh. So if I had to rate everything overall, I would probably give this a C- overall, right? Everything that I can evaluate by looking at it, right? It's a C- overall. And I think I'm actually being quite charitable, if I say so myself, given how much I hate what they've done to Sindel as a character. And I went in very hard about her Revenant look and how it doesn't look a damn thing like her, and I stand by everything I said in that video. But again, everything I've mentioned, I would give it all, at least this, with her human look. Her Revenant look, in my opinion, gets an F. But her human look, if I take all this into account, right, or rather, I should say her human avatar, right, or her as a character. I don't know quite how to put it. Right, but everything sans her Revenant look. If I put it all together in a pretty bow, I would give it a C-, right? So that's my evaluation. That's my opinion. That's as objective as I can get about a character and a change that I never agreed with. So that's the video. Let me know what you think. I will see you all in the comment sections or in the next video or in somebody else's videos. So have a good night, and I'll see you around. Bye.